Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have been taught since young age, that justice is blind. That is, it's dispersed equally, regarding of who you are, what's your name, and what race, creed, ethnicity you belong to. So I would like to analyze if Israel committed war crimes or at least involuntary manslaughter in Gaza. Since words have meaning and behaviors fit in a certain kind of term, or a term fits the behavior and vice versa, I would like to analyze if there's a certain number, or start by saying or asking the question, is there a certain number after which it's considered a war crime? Is it 3 people, 3 civilians being killed, 8 civilians, 1,000, 3,000, 8,000, 6 million? What's the number? Well, I will use some definitions here, and I will use a few articles. With the articles to inform about the number of civilians killed by none other than Israel in Gaza, and then we're gonna go and verify, put it against the definition and see if it fits. So first I will start with Associated Press, which says Gaza receives largest aid shipment so far as deaths top 8,000 and Israel widens military offensive. Now, ignore pigs who are using euphemisms and hide the truth by omission. The deaths top 8,000. They don't say the civilians. The Palestinian civilians top 8,000. By that title, it's just far as deaths top 8,000, in Gaza. Very vague, very non-accusatory. Well, I'm here to accuse if I see a criminal, okay? And how will I accuse? Based on evidence. And they will provide me the evidence. So, if I look down here it is, they say, the Gaza Health Ministry said the death toll among Palestinians passed 8,000, mostly women and minors. So, that is civilians. And it's not the death toll, they were killed. So we can rewrite that sentence like this. The Gaza Health Ministry said that Israeli bombardments killed about 8,000 innocent Palestinian civilians, mostly women and minors, right? So it says, as Israeli tanks and infantry pursued what Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a second stage. So that's a second stage, my friends. See, these are criminals who write like that because they hide the truth. They give a different nuance to reality. Let's say the Gaza Health Ministry exaggerates. Let's say there's not 8,000. How much do you think they exaggerate? I mean, I will not accept that no civilians were killed. Civilians were killed. Now, these guys say 8,000. Is it fair to say 7,000? Is it fair to say 6,000, 5,000, 4,000? I don't think is in the number of tens. I think it's a number of thousands. So if we take it 8,000, or we take it, let's say, half, 4,000. Now, if you kill as a military 4,000 civilians, does that qualify as a war crime? Remember, intentionally or non-intentionally. If it's intentional, okay, then you say it's a war crime. Is non-intentional, you get to involuntary manslaughter. So either way, you're a criminal. Got that? Either way, you are one. Now, I will talk about the intention, or the intent or not intent. So let's go to the next article ready for you here, which comes from The Hill. Now, the title is, I don't care about the title, but while reading the article, I found at the end one of the answers I was looking for. All right, so this is from the hill, pap, weasels, babibi, boo boo boom, ram pam pam, tsokoloko makalaka, fakalaka tsukuluku, and here it is. Israel has since pounded Gaza with rockets, reportedly killing more than 8,000 civilians. That's per hill, right? So we have Associated Press and the Hill, and has also called up pap. That's all you know about this, 8,000 civilians. Again, maybe they were not 8,000, maybe they were 12,000, maybe they were 6,000, but I don't think there were 20. All right, I will not accept that, or 129. So let's go to the definitions. A war crime. A war crime is a violation of the laws of war that gives rise to individual criminal responsibility for actions by combatants in action, such as intentionally killing civilians or intentionally killing prisoners of war, torture, taking hostages, unnecessarily destroying civilian property, that is buildings, okay, deception by people. So what I'm taking here is destruction of property, civilian property, and intentionally killing civilians. So let's analyze that. Israel says this, guys, we're gonna bomb the shit of you. All right, now you move. If you don't move, we will call you terrorists. Now you're not a terrorist, we're just gonna call you that way. So imagine you are at home and the enemy comes and say, if you don't leave your house, we will indiscriminately kill civilian property, which is your property. And if we kill you, we are not responsible because we already labeled you as terrorist. Now, are you terrorists because you didn't leave your house? Of course not. So the Palestinians who did not leave their homes, their property, their civilian property, they're not terrorists. They're called by Israelis terrorists so they can justify the killing. So I think it was intentionally killing because some people cannot leave, and some people say, why in the fuck should I leave? Because you say so? Well, if you don't leave, I'm going to label you as a terrorist. Well, am I a terrorist? No, but I will label you as such because I determine who you are. So remember, you can't justify someone is a thief, therefore you're going to throw that person in jail because you feel like. You have to prove that that person is a thief. So, just because Israel labels these guys who don't want to leave their houses, property, as terrorists does not make them terrorists. Therefore, killing them, you did it intentionally because you dropped the bombs on their property. So it's a war crime. Now, let's say, no, it was not, it was accidental. Well, I don't think it was accidental when they said a few times, well, you didn't leave your room, you didn't leave your house, therefore, we warned you. Well, why should I leave? Who are you to tell me to leave? Well, if you don't leave, you're a terrorist. You know how idiotic this is? Now, let's go to another definition here. And let's try to, let's try to get full retard or go full retard on this one. So, involuntary manslaughter. So let's say the Israelis just accidentally killed about 8,000 civilians. Involuntary manslaughter is the unintended killing of a person while committing a crime or acting in a reckless or negligent manner. Do you think, let's say, the Israelis could be fit in this one? This type of homicide is committed without malice or intent. So the Israelis did not want to kill the civilians. They just destroyed their property because they expected Hamas to be in your house. You can't do that, can you? You're not going to open fire on a car because you think in the car might be a criminal being a bad neighborhood, right? So the police will not do that. Otherwise, they will open fire on each and every car that goes through a bad neighborhood just because they assume or they labeled whomever drives past midnight in that neighborhood is a criminal because we said so. You should not drive after midnight. Well, says who? I say it. Okay. Right, understood? Now it says here, definition of involuntary manslaughter. None, the unintentional killing of a person as a result of a reckless or negligent act, as a result of the commission of a non-felony crime. Now I don't think the Israelis are committing a negligent crime. I think they do it purposely, and when they hit those apartments, they don't just close their eyes. They target the apartments, the apartment buildings. You saw enough pictures. If you didn't, just don't be lazy. Do over there, Gaza buildings destroyed or something, and put images, and you're going to see them. Now, I don't think in all those buildings that are flat and destroyed where all of those guys were Hamas people. Now, if in that building was one Hamas guy and the rest of 150 were civilians, you're a criminal. You can't do that. Israel just bombed a refugee camp a few hours ago. I'm going to cover that in a different video. And Israel said exactly this. Well, there could have been a Hamas guy in the refugee camp. That's why we bombed the shit out of that refugee camp. And we killed civilians, but maybe we killed that guy too. Is that justified? No, because that would be justified in a war. For instance, let's say in Ukraine, the Russians would drop an atomic bomb on, let's say, Kiev, hoping to destroy the military leadership of the Ukrainian army, which would be justified to bomb the Ukrainian leadership, Ukrainian army leadership, correct? In a war. That's military target. But you're not going to drop it in a civilian area like the Americans did it in the Second World War. Again, a war crime. Killing civilians intentionally, it's a war crime. Destroying civilian property, war crime. I think it qualifies. What do you think? So these guys in the media here, and not only, they're trying to, juggle with these words and try to use this, and they died. Palestinians died, and no, Palestinians, we know exactly what happened to them. They were blown into pieces by Israeli bombs. Clear? Clear. There were civilians at home, in their homes. They were not fighting for Hamas. Because if you don't know that, you don't bomb them. You don't just drop bombs. Might be, could be, should be, but no. You don't do that. You don't just open fire or just bomb a city because in there might be 2 or 3 criminals, do you? All right. Or the police are not going to come and destroy or burn your house because, let's say, someone in your house is a criminal and you kill the whole family and destroy the house, do you? No. So, yeah, that's a war crime. I would like to hear these beautiful countries of United States of America, Great Britain, and all these great democracies and countries of love freedom denouncing that, and why not placing sanctions on Israel and maybe, I don't know, attacking Israel. No, I mean, as of now, it's proven there are criminals, right, committed crimes in Gaza. 8,000 civilians, children, women, intentionally, non-intentionally. All right, my friends, I'm outside of this issue. I'm not a Palestinian. I'm not a Jew. I should even care about that. I should just think of something else, drink, I don't know, some of my wine and, I don't know, read a poem or paint or carve or do whatever I like to do. All right? But I can't do that because this kind of garbage that is fed to us, imagine people implicated in this, morally implicated or sentimentally implicated in this. Those guys I think, are ready to sacrifice themselves for certain kind of situations. And then they will react. And then when they react, what do we say? Why do they hate us? Well, maybe you should condemn where you see a war crime, regardless of who commits it. Remember, justice is blind. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.